Hi, thanks for joining me today. This is Christine Josty of Mail Something Pretty, and I am a Stampin' Up! Demonstrator. And today I'm going to show you how to make your own background papers. And it's the same process for each of 3 cards with just slight variances. So let me set these aside for a second and grab my stamp pad. I like to use this especially with the photopolymer stamps. It gives a little more cushion to make it more even stamping. And I just wrap paper around mine, and this is actually a legal size paper and it fits perfectly. We're also going to use these Whisper White note cards and envelopes. They sell them also in crumb cake color. They come in a pack of 20, so 20 note cards and 20 envelopes, and for $6, and you really can't go wrong. They are already pre-scored for you, so you don't even have to cut anything. You know, you get an instant card, and this takes a regular postage stamp, so they go through the mail just fine. Alrighty, so the next thing I need is, when I stamp these, see how they flap open? When you're stamping, you may get some bouncing and uneven stamping, so I like to open it up and use a post-it note, and these happen to be a 4x6 size. Just peel that off, and I just line the edge right up with a score mark and stick it down. So there we go. For the first card, we're going to use the Perfectly Wrapped stamp set. I just love the fonts of the words and the fun flowers, so it's just a whimsical stamp set. It happens to coordinate with a project kit, the Perfectly Wrapped project kit, which makes bags and boxes, great party favors or birthday gifts, so forth. So it's nice to use by itself or with the kit. Alrighty, we are going to use the thanks and the cute little flower, and we're going to use the Night of Navy ink pad. So to make the background paper, I like to start in this corner, but I don't want to put the whole flower there. I like to have it off paper a little bit, and then I just follow down in a diagonal, and most times I don't reach that corner, which is fine. And then the next row, I see this little gap here, I'm going to put my flower right there and then just follow in line, and I'll have a little bit there. So I could keep stamping this way, but it's harder to see because I already have the images there. So I just flip my page around, and then I'm going to start right here with this little gap rather than in the corner, because I can see where it's going to go, and then I'll just finish there. If I started there, I may not be in a line. So I just fill in all my little spots, a little here on the edge, and here we have our background paper. So we're just going to, actually I'll leave that here. We're just going to use 2 more pieces of paper. This is a small little scrap from the Affectionately Yours Designer Series paper, and it has a nice little metallic copper image on there and just a little strip of Watermelon Wonder. I'm going to put the dimensions and supplies and everything on my website, or rather I'll actually put it in the comments section that will link back to my website, so you will know exactly what I used. I'm just going to stamp thanks. There we go. And I'm just going to make a little banner shape. What I like to do is put a little snip down the middle and then go from the edge to the middle and the other edge to the middle, and I find I get a more symmetrical shape than if I was to start in the corner. We're also going to use this metallic thread. It comes in silver, gold, and copper. I don't have the copper yet, which would match beautifully with this, but it's there's not a whole lot of shine here, so no one will really even know. So I'm going to put a little snail there just to anchor it down. And this thread is super fine, so sometimes it's a little hard to get your fingers working with it. I'm just going to wrap it around, I don't know, a few times. Stick it there, cut. Okay, and then we'll use our snail to put this down on our card. Oh, I forgot something. So I want to put, here's the sample. I have this little Watermelon Wonder edge. So this is washi tape that coordinates with that paper. So I'm going to pick up my card, and I'm just going to put it down here. Oh, and cut. And then I'm just going to fold this over so you'll have a little bit of pink on the inside. And I'm just going to snip off the edges. So you get a nice little pattern with very little work. All right, so now we're going to tape this down. There we go. And I'm going to use dimensionals on my thanks. There we go. And pop this on there. And the last thing is I'm going to use that thread again, and I'm going to double it over and make a bow. And I promise you, you will not have a perfect bow with this thread because it's a little hard, but I don't really want a perfect bow. I just want it to be kind of messy. I want to trim. And I'll use a glue dot. Put that down for a sec. There we go. Just to stick that on the thread and pop that on. Here we go. And here we are. Cute little card. And then I don't like to leave my cards empty or naked on the inside, so I'm just going to put a part of a flower. Okay? Great. And I have, here we go, a matching envelope, my pre-stamped. So these two flowers also come with that same stamp set. Isn't that sweet? Alrighty. So, move that aside. The next card is a Christmas card. There we are. Yeah, wishing you a sweet season with these cute little mints. And I used the Candy Cane Christmas set, which is new in the 2016 holiday catalog. And I also used Real Red and Cucumber Crush ink. So that said, we really are going to do the same process of, let's fold it to see my mark here. We're going to use that same Post-it note. Stick it down there. Put my inks. And these are the two little mint stamps. And I'll start with red. And again, this one takes a little more stamping because these little mints are tiny. So I go down, and then this one is different, only that we're using two different colors. Oh, let's see, I smudged there. Let's see if maybe some of our mints will cover that up. Back to the red. I must have my ink on my hands. I find that the red ink just happens to get everywhere, no matter how hard you try not to. Finish that one in that corner. Okay, so I'm going to spin my paper again. And I'm going to, again, start over here, not in the, go back. I just find I get a better line when I do it that way. Okay. These look so yummy to eat. It's one of the good things about Christmas time is all the sweets until January comes, and then we're not so happy about all those sweets we ate, right? All right, a little bit more here, go back. And there we go. All right, so I'm going to pull off my paper. Isn't that pretty? It's even pretty all on its own. Actually, while we're here, I'm going to just stamp two little mints on the inside so I don't forget. Okay, so I have something. Okay, let me put those aside so I don't smudge myself, which happens with that red. And I use the stamp, the Wishing You a Sweet Season, that comes with that set. I already pre-stamped it, and I pre-cut it with the circle framelits that come in the annual catalog. And what's really nice about these is you get both these straight edge circles, if you will, in the scallop circles, and they lend themselves really nice for building each other up. So the other thing oh shoot, I don't have it. Okay, hold on one second, I'm gonna go get it. Okay, sorry about that, I'm back. I had filmed this one before and I forgot to replenish my supplies. So I have we'll see if it's too short or not, cucumber crush paper, and I'm going to use, rather than use the scissors, I have a punch, and it's called a triple banner punch, and triple because it does different sizes. So I can do an inch or an inch and a half or 2 inches wide, which this is. It's really nice. So you're gonna slide it in there, punch, and there we go. All right, let's see. That's a little longer than I want it, so I'm gonna put it there and just cut it. So I'm just gonna use snail. Actually, you know what? I'm gonna do it this way. I'm gonna learn from my mistakes right here. I didn't want to tape it down yet because I'm actually gonna trim it. Let's see if I can do this straight. I'll show you why in a second. Okay. Because I didn't want the banner to go all the way to the edge. And I can, that's fine, but I wanted you to see some of those candies that we just stamped, so I just wanted to shift it down a little bit. Okay, the next thing we're going to use is the Cucumber Crush striped ribbon, which is really, really nice. And we're just going to eyeball this for cutting purposes as well. So I want about that much. There you go. And I'm just going to put some snail down there for one layer to stick, and the next layer to stick. There we go. And let's see. Stick those on there, and then I'm going to pop them up with dimensionals on either side. There we go. There you are. Wishing you a sweet season, cute little card, and matching envelope that I stamped earlier. Okay, so one more card. Pretty easy, isn't it? All right, so the last card, happy birthday. It's kind of fun with a little shine of the sequins. When I was preparing for this yesterday, I was stamping my background as I just did before, and I noticed that I was getting these little marks on here, which may happen to you too. And the reason why is sometimes it happens too with small stamps, that the rubber, the rubber on it was wider, and so when you stamp, sometimes you get that edge. Let me show you actually first what stamp set I'm using. This is a double stamp set called Better Together, and it has great words and nice images, and it covers a lot of occasions that you need a card for. Okay, so what I did was I cut my stamps. So here's the birthday hat, and here it was before, and so I just trimmed off the excess rubber. So all the line is still there, and I did the same thing for my 2 stars. And so that eliminates this little edge that I didn't want on my card. Okay, so let me put these on blocks. I just hold them for like 3 seconds and they stick on there. My blocks are not the cleanest, but they still work. Sometimes I'm a little too lazy to go wash them. Or too busy, rather. I don't want to stop what I'm doing. Okay. Here is the card. I'm going to fold it so I can see that line. We're going to reuse that Post-it note yet again. It lasts for a long time. And the ink colors we're using are Bermuda Bay, Calypso Coral, and Crushed Curry. Okay. No matter how much space I have, I always end up using just a little bit of workspace. Okay, so there we go. Let's put it back on there. Okay, on with that one. Okay, so same thing. We're just going to work on our diagonal. Start the hat off paper. So because I actually trimmed some of that, I can get my hat here a little close, or I can see that I'm getting it closer than if I just had that extra rubber. And the stars, I'm going to, so this is a little trickier than the other ones, which were symmetrical stamps, the circles. These have different shapes, so I don't want to have it too close, because then if I go my diagonal, I might end up in my hat. So I'm gonna have it a little bit of space going down. Probably could have got it a little closer, but that's okay. And same thing with my yellow star. bit of the hat there. So on the other two cards I was spinning it around, which made it easier for me, but it's a little trickier to spin it when you have non-symmetrical stamps. You can try it, but and I could just use my star upside down, but I'm actually going to just leave it this way and just make sure my color pattern, I picked the right color. So again, I'm just going to use my eye to follow down this imaginary line. And no card needs to be perfect. You know, who's gonna really say that I was off some of my measurement, right? Okay, a little more hat. I'm going to pull that one up so I can get a good part of the hat on here. Okay. And I'm going to put a little hat on the inside. All right, let me move these away, and we're going to put some sequins on. And so the happy birthday I took from the same stamp set. It's kind of whimsy and fun, and I kind of took these curly cues, and I thought, what else could I put on my card? So I have these framelets. Oh, there we go. Are from the what is it called? Swirly Scribbles. And I used this one. It came, there we go, it was like that. All these fun little shapes. And I already cut it out of Bermuda Bay paper to match my hat. So when you use these framelets or thinlets that are really thin, or some of the words, they're a little tricky to get out. So what I used is, this is a precision plate that I used with my Big Shot, and it really makes a huge difference when you're using things that are cutting thin shapes. And then after I ran it through the Big Shot, and this was, this was stuck in there, sometimes it's hard to get out, they have this great little, it just comes with a sponge and this brush, and I put it on here and I roll it, and these little bristles go through these little holes, and then it pops right out, which is perfect. So what I like to do is keep my foam pad here in this clear, it's a wood stamp set size case, and you can buy extra cases because it kind of keeps it contained, and then I'll just go like that, close it up, and it's ready to use next time. The brush doesn't unfortunately fit in there, but that's okay. Alrighty, that was my little tip with that. So I already stamped my happy birthday, and I stamped it on vellum with the archival black ink. It needs to dry for a few moments, and then it's all set to use. So I'm just going to layer like so. So I could use my snail on here, but then it's pretty thin. So they made this fine tip glue, which works out good, and I'm using it on this silicone mat, and you can even probably see some glue that's stuck on here, so that I don't get glue stuck on. Welcome back. I had some camera issues, and hopefully they are all resolved and we can finish this card. So I had just put some fine tip glue on my swirly Bermuda Bay here, and I'm going to just stick it down on my card like that. Put my palm on it for a second, and it sticks pretty good. Okay, and then I had already stamped my happy birthday in the vellum. And I just want to show you a trick that I like to use when I put the vellum on the card, so you don't see the adhesive sticking through the back. So I'm going to just kind of place it here. Looks like it's where I want it. And then I have these sequins here, and the sequins, Stamp Up sells them in all these 4 colors: Bermuda Bay, Gold, Silver, and Blushing Bride. So I'm going to use these 3. And they last forever when you use them one by one, or you can certainly use them as a strand. So I'm just going to place them kind of where I think they want to be. There we go. All right. Oop, that fell off. Okay, and then I'm going to take my glue dots and stick them down. They're kind of tricky to pick up. I like to put the sequin on the glue dot rather than try to put the glue dot onto the sequin. Okay, so this is kind of where I like it. So then I'm going to flip over my vellum and stick the glue dots on the back side of where the sequin is, so that when I stick the vellum down, you won't see where it's stuck, like that. And then I think I might just stick a few more sequins on it to make it a happy birthday card. There we go. Okay, so there we go. There is our birthday card, and I have pre-stamped an envelope to match. So I want to thank you very much for watching this video on stamping your own background paper. I hope you learned a few tricks and know that you can easily do it yourself. Thanks for visiting Christine at Mail Something Pretty. Bye-bye.